This is the third battle in a best of 5 series between me and Diplomatt of the Wolf Clan. I'm commanding Nervii and he is commanding Rome. I believe he picked Rome and Parthia, and then I banned Parthia. I picked Nervii and Rome was banned, I believe. I picked a map. It's the Battle of Armavir. Nervii isn't a strong barbarian faction by any means. Its fierce swords can be great if they get a good frenzy charge off, even against Evocati, but they are very unreliable. They die to missiles, they die to cavalry. So I went for a very Oathsworn heavy build here with 5 Oathsworn, 6 Celtic warriors, 3 Levy freemen, and that's my first mistake, only bringing 3 Levy freemen. I need at least 6. Then I have 2 Germanic scouts and 2 mighty horse. Diplomatt has 6 legionary 6 Evocati cohort. I believe he has 2 legionary cohort, something like that. 2 Hastati, total of 4 Equites and legionary cavalry, Vigiles, speed bumps, and auxiliary Syrian archers. And right away, we played a battle on this map before this, which I won, where he took the engagements over here, which was is the worst place to engage a barbarian faction, because the barbarians are going to get great charges downhill, and the rear is going to be protected by forest. So it looks like he's wisened up and he's going to try to move over here. So I'm going to reorient my own lines over here to stop him from moving up here. Doing some early skirmishing with my Germanic scouts here against his Equites to do some damage to them. But now the problem is that there are rocks and bushes and all kinds of nastiness here that's going to reduce the effectiveness of my downhill charge. So this is not really a good place for me to be engaging his army, and I am a bit clumped up there. The problem with, I expected 6 Hastati, and those Hastati managed to bait some javelins there. The problem with the build that Diplomatt has brought now, not having 6 Hastati, is that my strategy revolves around being able to take care of Hastati with Celtic warriors, because Celtic warriors are not going to be able to do much against legionary cohorts and Evocati. They're going to die horribly to both of those units. So there are 3 Hastati up front for Diplomatt. Then he has legionary cohort and Evocati cohorts directly behind them. So this is a very dangerous deployment for me, because I can basically only charge, and when I charge, these units absorb the charge. The follow-up by Evocati is going to absolutely destroy my Oathsworn. He also has a comfortable cavalry advantage. He has skirmishers as well. So in terms of balance, Diplomatt's army is more balanced than mine. My army is a one-trick pony. What it can do very well. It can charge in, but it's also going to be fairly easy for Diplomatt to blunt the charges. So since I'm up 2-0, I only need to win one more game to win this whole series and win the tournament. So I got a bit reckless in terms of army composition choice. What I wanted to try was to just charge everything in and then rely on breaking Diplomatt's army. There is of course a huge problem with that. Evocati cohorts have great morale armor, and they do a lot of damage in extended melees, which Oathsworn are not as great in extended melees, because even though they have 45 weapon damage and the Evocati only have 35, the Oathsworn are going to hit less than the Evocati are going to, because the Evocati's melee attack is so good. So I'm trying to throw some javelins here with my Levy freemen at the Equites, not really managing to do that. And you can see that I'm deploying a bit too wide here. I have my men 5 ranks deep, I believe. So I'm in a single line, and that is not really a good deployment in this scenario, because it's going to be very hard for me to flank, and it's going to be very easy for Diplomatt to flank. And you can see he's doing a good job now of flanking with his Hastati. So I want to stop that. I'm eating some fire on my Levy freemen on my Oathsworn. Sending in the Celtic warriors. They're getting a good charge on this Hastati unit. The Hastati is getting a charge as well, but not on that unit. They're getting a charge on this unit, so the Hastati are getting wrecked here. In the center, his Hastati, they are stopping charges of 2 units, a good job there. I'm charging everything into the center, but I'm getting hit by cavalry here. So that's going to stop the charges of almost all of my Oathsworn units dead in their tracks. I'm too slow with a follow-up from Levy Freeman. My Germanic scouts are way out of position, so a lot of these Oathsworn got stopped, and now they're getting charged by Avocati Cohort, and the Avocatis are going to grind it out very well against my Oathsworn. I'm also taking fire. I have to keep moving my general away because he's taking so much fire here from the Syrian archers. I am able to win here with the Hastati. I'm activating Fighting Spirit to make some of these Celtic warriors stay in the fight for a bit longer. But over here my Celtic warriors are getting charged by Legionary Cavalry, and even Legionary Cavalry is going to do a lot of damage against Celtic warriors on the charge. I'm trying to sneak my Mighty Horse around the edges, but now the forest is actually working against me because my Mighty Horse is going to be slower in getting there. It's going to try to get into the Legionary cohort with my general, but having the Oathsworn away from the center is very bad. And here we have a situation where my Oathsworn are up against two Avocati cohorts, and that Oathsworn unit is going to lose that combat significantly. My Celtic warriors are starting to lose here against Legionary cohorts and Equites. Using my Germanic Scout Riders to pull away some of these Legionary Cavalry, but Diplomatt is wisely protecting his auxiliary Syrian archers with Vigiles here. And my Oathsworn are getting in and destroying the Equites, but I have to pull them out and turn around because Legionary cohort is incoming, so I'm getting a decent enough charge, but engaging Roman units in the forest is not great for barbarian sword infantry. So my Oathsworn are getting ganged up on here, 2 against 1 in a lot of these situations. The Celtic warriors, a lot of their charges were blunted, and when the Celtic warriors' charges are blunted, then they're not going to do well at all. Levy Freeman throwing some javelins at the Equites. Even though I have the advantage in terms of terrain here, my units are not doing great. They were too bunched up, they were too deep, and they were not able to charge the Roman units effectively because Diplomatt wisely pulled back, and then he sent his cavalry to stop my charges. So a very reckless charge by me, and now I'm paying the price. Over here my Germanic Scout Riders are going to run to the red line and get caught by the Legionary Cavalry. My Oathsworn is taking so long in destroying this Legionary cohort, and this just shows how powerful Roman infantry is when it's able to gain even a slight terrain advantage. Because if you look at this here, part of this Roman unit is fighting is higher up than my Oathsworn, and it's in a forest, so my Oathsworn are less effective. The Roman infantry gets a lot of help from that, and the 2 Avocati units that were up against one Oathsworn were able to destroy my Oathsworn in the center. I didn't keep a coherent center, which I'm going to pay for now, because now there's nothing stopping Diplomatt from just going in and rear charging all of these units. The Germanic scouts are alive for now, but I didn't manage to pull them out in time, so they're going to get charged. This was just a horrible, reckless engagement by me, and very well responded by Diplomatt in pulling his men away. And you can see just how poorly Oathsworn are doing, even against Legionary cohort. And they did take some damage from skirmish fire, so that didn't really help them. But the Roman units are just breaking through all across the line now and using their extreme tankiness to great effect against my my engaged Celtic warriors. I'm getting my Mighty Horse into these auxiliary Syrian archers, but it's just way too late. My general is probably going to die soon, and my army is going to be losing. The center has just completely collapsed. The Syrian archers didn't do a lot of killing, but they did do a lot of hit point damage, which allowed the other Roman units to finish off my units easier. So well done by Diplomatt in choosing a better terrain to engage in, and in responding appropriately to the initial rush, because as you can see, my Oathsworn did horribly bad in this instance, and his Avocati did very well, was able to blunt my charges significantly, and the cavalry doesn't get a lot of kills here, but these kills are very important, and more importantly they stopped the charges of these very dangerous units. So this Nervii build it's not a very good build, because all Diplomatt has to do is to stop the charges from my Oathsworn, and the Legionary cohorts and Avocati, they're going to murder my Celtic warriors super quickly. So he did well in that regard. And then my flanking force was completely out of position, because the plan was obviously to hold the center with Oathsworn and flank with Celtic warriors. But then I got reckless, charged in, and I was out of position to move around. And he had, let's see, he had 11 swords, while I also had 11 swords. On flat terrain in a straight up fight, I think these Oathsworn and the Celtic Warriors would be able to win convincingly, but everything changes when Diplomatt uses his cavalry as well as he did here and is able to go 2 against 1 on the Oathsworn and deal with the Celtic Warriors on the flanks. Then it just becomes a very difficult battle for the Nervii. So 500 kills more than I got there, and the Germanic scouts were basically completely wasted here. So if I was to play this battle again or pick a different build, I probably would have removed an Oathsworn, brought some more cavalry, and played a lot more conservatively with my Oathsworn. Possibly just tilted my lines so I could engage with my Oathsworn on one end and then just protect the flanks on the other side, because the way I engaged here was completely hopeless. It's just a textbook example of how to not engage with a barbarian army. Diplomat's response was a textbook example of how to respond to a rush by a barbarian army. Pull away, send in the cavalry, and then send in the tanky troops to grind it out. Because these Evocati, they have the armor and the melee attack to defeat Oathsworn if the Oathsworn do not get a good charge and if the terrain is disadvantageous for the Oathsworn. So now the score is 2-1. I'm still in the lead, but if Diplomatt wins the next battle, then we're going to move to a tiebreaker that's going to decide who wins the Milk and Cookies Total War tournament. Strength and honor.